This video is sponsored by JNC Collectibles website at jnccollectibles.com. Be sure to check them out for all your TCG needs, from sealed products to sleeves to playmats. Link is in the description box below. Thank you, and back to the video.
What's up, YouTube? This is Jibril here with Team JNC, and today I'm helping the team record a podcast for this weekend going into YCS Raleigh. Today I'm joined with Mr. Amai, Sean Pittman, Jose, Shun, Lundredy, and Yampi. So how's everybody doing today?
What's up, bro? I'm good.
I'm also big chillin'.
Pretty good.
Okay, that's great
Doing
to hear.
well.
That's great to hear. So this week we got a ban list. It was a pretty big ban list. Lots of changes. How is everybody feeling about the ban list in general?
I feel
Feeling
pretty
good.
Okay. That's good. So let's talk about the ban list more in depth. So on the ban section, we got Link Karibo, Borreload Savage Dragon, Baron DeFleur, and Sum Limit. I would say at least two of those changes I kind of expected. I don't know about you guys, but Sum Limit, I'm very happy that they ended up banning Sum Limit. And Baron DeFleur, I felt like it was a matter of time when it came to that card being legal.
I actually felt like of the expected ones, like I expected Link Karibo if they were gonna hit an extra deck monster, and then like the summon limit, like you said. I thought Baron and Savage, especially Savage, was just gonna like just stay.
But the crazy part, they didn't hit no Snake Eye or the Wanted stuff.
Yeah.
I think that was wild.
I think, to be honest, I think most of us expected that they weren't gonna hit the Snake Eye engine, just because it's getting more support, and it really did just take off very recently. So I don't think we were expecting a huge hit to the engine.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the Snake Eye portion of the deck are like either too new or too expensive still. I was only expecting Snake Eye Ash limited, which surprisingly didn't happen. But other things, the actual hits, people are surprising it because that's not how Konami usually hit the cards from the format. But those cards itself are not surprising hits at the end.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Shu actually makes a good point. Like, since I've been playing, like banlists have always been a weird like topic because I never know like what direction Konami's gonna go in. I feel like there's a lot that happens behind the scenes that we're just not privy to, where like a lot of these decisions take place and how they come about them. So like the hits themselves, like they make sense. I personally did not expect to see like Baron DeFleur be on the ban list simply because it's like one of those staple cards that like so many people use. That I just don't know how that works behind the scenes as far as like them actually making that hit.
I do have to parrot that point and saying I do not know how we came to the conclusion that we're gonna unban Colossus. But yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, I feel like the weirdest hit, and Amai said he felt like that was kind of a given, but I know a lot of people are kind of confused to why Link Karibo got hit, and they don't. A lot of people for some reason don't see the impact of Link Karibo being banned on the game, and I think that card is an amazing card, and it being banned actually does a lot to Snake Eye right now, but just in general, like Link climbing in general.
Yeah, it does. It's like it's one of the things that you like immediately see a difference on that you wouldn't be able to like tell if you were just like casually playing, but as soon as you start playing, you're like, wow, I need like Link Kariba here to like make this line work or to like insulate something like an Appaloosa board, stuff like that. So it does come up, but it's a very hard hit.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything like majorly broken in and of itself, like in a vacuum, but all the little things it does just add up. Even the fact that it just like points down, like is even nice. Letting you make like Coling Phoenix plays like going second. So like all that stuff matters. Just like all that incremental stuff that matters like in games. Like in a real tournament when you play like 11, 12 rounds of Swiss, like not having Link Karibo in your extra deck versus having an Anima might cost you like one or two more games that you would have won otherwise, which is like the difference in YCS.
Yeah, 100%.
And like, how many times are we gonna like go through a combo line where we're gonna be like, oh yeah, normally I just like trade one of the Snake Eye level ones for the Link Karibo in my grave to make dark, but now like you don't have that option, so you have to be like a lot more conscious.
Yeah. That's something that I kind of really wanted to talk about. Like just Link Karibo being gone, kind of limiting the access to Dark after the first couple of turns. You know, like the anima. Now you kind of have to think, maybe I should make my combos in a way that I don't have to go through my Link 1 on the first turn. Because once the anima or whatever Link 1 you decide to play is gone, then you kind of lose a lot of access to the Dark. You know, like easy access. So I think Link Karibo's a really good band. As for the rest, Savage, I agree. I never thought I would see Savage get banned. Baron, I could kind of understand that card has a lot of effects and all of them are relevant, but Savage is kind of weird to me to be banned.
I do think Baron probably was like a push for the new rank 10, like pretty much the equivalent of Baron that's coming out. So I can kind of see that one.
Yeah.
But man, Dragon Link stay taking
Yeah.
L's off of every ban list for no reason. It's crazy.
Dragon Link has been dead since LP was gone, okay? People were just not playing the deck right afterwards.
And they keep on taking hits for no reason. It's crazy. Like
Doesn't
every
matter.
ban list.
The deck is gone already. The deck has been gone.
Yeah.
You know, Savage Seal best end board.
So on to the limited section. We have Arch Nemesis Protos, Tidal, Colossus, Magic Spectre Kieran, Chicken Game, and Anti-Spell. I think out of all of these, limits are very good. I think the one that has the least amount of impact, at least in my eyes, is Magic Spectre Kieran. Tidal, in my opinion, is a card that right now might not seem very good, but all it takes is for us to get relevant water support that works with Mermail Dragoon, and Tidal is just a broken one of in your deck, you know? Like, Tidal is just a powerful card. And then
I don't think Tidal will ever be, even considering there are future order support. Because it is a hard, like, it's a card you have to raw draw. There's no way to search it.
Yeah.
And also, sending a card, like, I would assume if a new archetype in the future require cards to be sent that get triggered, imagine we get like a water tier or something.
Yeah.
The engine itself probably is already gonna do that better without Tidal. To the point Tidal is not needed. Or the deck has just absolutely no way to trigger, which adding some titles doesn't solve that.
Yeah.
One thing that you can do not to interrupt, but there is one way that you can get it out now, or search it, I guess, is like the ice barrier trap, like foolish burial good for ice burial, or whatever that.
It's called ice barrier. It's called ice barrier.
Yeah, ice barrier. Yeah, that is one way that you can get it. So maybe there's something that you can do with that. So then it's just like you run that, and then if you're playing a water deck, then it's just like a free foolish or whatever. But yeah.
I would say the cards with the highest, or I wouldn't say the highest impact, but the cards that people are looking at immediately after getting released are Arch Nemesis Protos and Thunder Dragon Colossus, 2 floodgate cards basically. I felt like there wasn't really a reason for these cards to be unbanned. I guess it's just something to kind of replace. Someone said it like they're getting rid of negation cards and giving us back good end board pieces, which I guess that's kind of a way to think about it, but those 2 cards are pretty toxic in my opinion.
Those cards are irrelevant, honestly. Like, I think they are actually just mid cards because, well, by itself, it's broken cards. Considering the deck they are playing and they are just mid at the end overall. Like, realistically, if you play Colossus in a non-Thunder deck, you are just turboing with bricks. And Protoss, like, you have to play pretty much Sorcerer to make it also not like turboing always bricks. Right? And those situations, it's just like, yeah, those decks probably, it's fine to give them some newer tool or their old tools that were taken, but they still just not going to be as close to be the best decks from now on.
Yeah, definitely. And then, as a precautionary hit,
I kind of one thing just to kind of speak on that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's that's a fair point, but like I feel like it just like limits the way we can think about cards in the future and how like other sets and like other archetypes that come out are, because like the way people build decks now, is like they look at the best cards in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, and like in a vacuum, Colossus and Protoss are some of those cards, and then they try to build their decks based off those cards. They don't like build a combo and then try to make them at the end. They like start their combo with those cards in mind. So I just feel like in the future, like sure, those cards aren't maybe relevant right now, and they won't see like relevancy play for like this weekend. But I feel like in the future they could just be bad for no reason. Like I feel like when I started, one card that was kind of like this was Utopic Zexal. Like it was legal, but it didn't really see play. But then when it started to see play, it was just broken, and it should not have like been legal, obviously, right? So it's like kind of to the same vein as like Protoss and Colossus. Like yeah, sure, they might not see play right now, but like we just all know they're broken cards, and probably just the game is better off without them.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We could say like all these like bad cards are like bad, so no one's gonna like play them. Like Colossus and Protoss are kind of like very niche to even like get into, and if you're playing it, then it's probably already like a suboptimal deck. But its existence is just like not even warranted in my opinion. Like there's nothing to gain from having like those cards in the game. I feel like.
Agreed.
Well, I think you could also look at it like this: the main purpose of the ban list isn't just to like balance the game. It's like a company that's trying to make money, but they also want their player base to like be able to play decks they enjoy. And like Thunder and like Sword Soul are relatively like popular decks, so they might want to give those players new tools to mess around with.
That's fair.
And at the same time, most decks that exist in Yu-Gi-Oh right now do degenerate stuff. So no matter what, there's always going to be degenerate stuff in the game. But they might have looked at it from point of view of like, yeah, it's degenerate, but competitively speaking, it's not going to be insane. But the players who are going to play the decks are going to be like happy. So I don't know. I think there are positives and negatives to like unhitting the cards, and I can see a reason set why they would do it.
Mm-hmm. The other two cards are interesting in my opinion. Anti-Spell, which is just a precautionary hit in my opinion. They banned Summon Limit, so Anti-Spell is probably just the next best floodgate, so they went ahead and limited that ahead of time. And then the last card is Chicken Game, which is a interesting card. It's a card that's been banned for a long time. I don't think it's necessarily a broken card, especially at one. Maybe at multiples, it can get a little out of hand. Just being able to have a 34 card deck with 3 Chicken Game, 3 Upstart Goblin. But I don't think this card is the issue, and it's a card that I personally enjoy.
I don't think that card is like even good. Like you have to remember, a good amount of these cards were legal in OCG for years and not touched, and they have not done a single thing. Even applied to Master Duel, some of them.
Yeah.
And Chicken Game is like, have you even been playing Upstart? No, then why would you even play Chicken Game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, for how at least the current game is, the more you play 30, 37 or even 34 is arguably almost incorrect now because you need to fit enough hand traps to have a chance going second. And usually the chicken game or upstart kind of cards are taking the non-engine portion of your deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, like 37 years ago might be correct. Now from now, like at this current moment, might actually not be.
Yeah, when I'm building decks, it's like, man, I feel like I need more spots. Not that I want to like add in 6 cards that basically do the same thing and just like cut my deck down to 34. That's like the opposite of what I want to do.
Yeah, that's interesting. Just how time has changed like deck building mentalities in the game.
Also, another card that was on there that I don't think we touched on was Kieran, but I think that one should have just came back when their support
Yeah,
came out.
that should have came back last Banlist probably. Now to the semis.
It's funny to think.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's funny to think. Curing's back, but Plush Fire is still banned.
Yeah, and isn't Kieran still banned in the OCG? Which is funny.
Yeah, but
Like,
they have an Electromite, so that one makes sense.
oh, okay, fair enough. I guess you just don't want to like be able to tutor Kieran from your deck in any pendulum deck. Just get a free Kieran.
Yeah, I think those two cannot coexist, which makes sense.
I mean, I don't know. Like Kieran's solid, but I'm pretty sure in like most pen decks, tutoring Astrograv with Electromite is just doing more than Kieran almost every time anyway. So I don't know if they like, and I don't think Kieran is solving the problems of Pendulum. It's like
Well,
Pendulum makes it always
let's just say
good.
I'll say let's just say the other way. I don't think Electromagnet shouldn't even exist as a card, even for OC.
I mean,
So yeah, so I think as long as Electromite is out there not getting banned, I don't think OCG Pendulum is getting any support in any different form.
I'll say I don't think OCG. I do agree that I don't think OCG Pendulum needs support.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So as for the semi-limits, we have Armageddon Knight and Purely Delicious Memory. Armageddon Knight is a good card, but it's not very relevant right now. Maybe, like I said before, maybe they release some dark deck that doesn't have their own Foolish Burial, and you just throw Armageddon Knight in there. Maybe in the future, it's a solid card, but it just doesn't have a competitive place at the moment. But on the other hand, a card like Purely Delicious Memory does have actual implications for the game potentially. Pearly's a deck that's seen moderate competitive success on and off throughout the last year or so, and Delicious Memory allows for turn 0 noirs to be more consistent, which is a lot better than the sleepy setups before that lost the cards like Book of Eclipse, Spellbound, etc., etc. Hard making a noir is just a lot better, and before the deck couldn't really do that because Delicious pretty much went to 1 very soon after release. So now we're kind of getting back more Delicious, so turn 0 noir is going to be more likely. How do you guys feel about those cards?
I still don't think so. Well, first of all, regarding Arm Knight, I think we can just summarize with one sentence. I didn't even realize that card was still limited. I've heard people saying, why did they newly semi-limit Armor Knight? Because people didn't even realize it was still at 1. But besides that, yeah, we can just ignore that card. That card can just go straight to 3 and don't matter. But regarding Delicious, I don't think Purely is gonna change much. Yes, turn 1 Noir is a lot more likely, mathematically speaking, but it's not like we are currently playing things that preventing a Nor by sleepy in the other way.
Yeah.
So it's like if they are going for turn 1 Nor, either way, they are getting there. Having pumping it from 3 to 4 doesn't change much. It's like they still don't guarantee a way they want by my friend, which I think at the end it's not gonna change the deck that much.
Okay.
I think it's a nice quality of life thing for the deck, but I don't think it's gonna make it surge into the meta game. Like it's not gonna all of a sudden just be winning at YCS after YCS. But it is.
Yeah, I think it's more annoying than anything, to be honest. Because now there's gonna be this faction of people. As much as I love Pearly, there'll be this faction of people that play it when it's not considered to be the best deck and no one's preparing for it, which makes it even better, right? But now you're gonna play it with a suboptimal deck list when in reality when Pearly was the best deck, it had such a silver bullet on its back because there were so many cards that were good against it, like Herald of the Abyss, the books, Book of Eclipse, Book of Moon, other stuff. But now when you play against Pearly, it's gonna be the equivalent of oh dude, I played against the Dark World player. I just didn't have Joel in my main deck or these cards that they auto lose to,
Yeah. Yeah, your opponent's just gonna be able to summon a Noir and just deck you out or some stupid stuff. You just have no out.
That's the
funny thing.
How I feel about Colossus, just because now you're just introducing more cards in the game that wow, you just kind of it increased the variance when you didn't have to. But yeah, as you were saying.
Yeah, but funny thing, Xyz Encore still hasn't got reprint yet, so maybe they try to milk it one more time before the card finally getting.
Bro, just borrow it from a friend or look through your bulk.
Shout out. That's what my pride at YCS Indy.
Yeah.
Tried and Dragon Alert.
Alright. So now on to the unlimited section. We have Mally to 3, Harpor to 3, Terratop to 3, and Engage to 3.
I'm fine with all of these.
Yeah. I think all these to 3 are cool. Mally is always a card that's going from 2 to 3, 2 to 3, 2 to 3, 2 to 3. Every time it goes to 3, it does find its way back to 2. So I'm interested to see how it's going to find its way back to 2.
It'll be
But-
back at 2 in like 3 months. That's fine.
But the rest of these are cool. I don't think any of these cards are bad. I think all of these cards have potential, except maybe Terratop at this point. It would have to be like some level 3 deck to come out
I
to make
think
Terratop.
all of those cards, in the history have warp formats, which
Yeah,
I think now it's okay they're coming back. I'm just curious when are we gonna see these cards going back again?
that's what I'm saying. That's what I was trying to get at. Like all these cards are good cards. Like usually when they put a card to 3, it's like, oh, okay, whatever. That card shouldn't even be on the list anymore. But all of these cards are cards that can definitely just go back onto the ban list into the future. So
Yeah.
that's definitely interesting. Anybody have anything else to say about these unlimits?
About time they freed my boy Harp. But yeah.
Yeah, right. Harp to 3. That's cool.
Well, I think anti-spell at 1 is increasing the odds of you drawing it. Because think about it. You always draw that 1 Imperial Order instead of that 3 anti-spell.
Oh my god, so true, so true. Now I was like, yeah, bro, I got sacked by the one of anti-spell.
I don't even get it. Like, why are we limiting the one anti-spell and then banning some of them? Why couldn't we just like ban?
Anti-spell is the less relevant one at the moment.
Yeah.
It is, but like I don't see like, oh, what's the decision for like keeping the one anti-spell? I could even see them banning anti-spell to push the new card and
They call it a necklace.
yeah.
They were like they were probably having an argument as to whether they wanted to hit it or not, and then they basically just like compromised. I'm sure. Like one person was probably like, "Nah, I don't want to hit this card," and then one person was like, "Nah, let's ban it." And then they were like, all right, guys, let's just like put it to
Me
1."
in the middle. Just put it at 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can talk a little bit about what's missing on the balance because I still feel there's a good amount of those.
Oh,
Albion.
definitely. Albion, yes. That's the
Instantly,
first one.
Albion.
Sanctifier should have been banned on this last ban list, and I'll stand by that forever. That card should be banned. So,
I'm more a fan of limiting Brand Diffusion, so you cannot hack Brand Diffusion into other decks.
I don't
By doing
even know if that's super relevant. Like the only deck that's teching Brand Diffusion right now is Voiceless. I'd rather just directly hit the problem card from Branded, which is.
But that's because Voice is like the better engine to do it right? You could just see Brand Diffusion and like a Thunder Dragon. They just end it with Colossus Mirror G.
I'm kind of on the shoe side here. I think Branded Fusion, as a hit, is probably better overall than like Sanctifier. Well, I mean, ideally, I think both would happen, but I think Branded Fusion Limit is solid too. Because like, honestly, like even without Sanctifier, people say Brand is just Gimmick Puppet, and obviously Gimmick Puppet's like really toxic and annoying to happen to you. But I think without Gimmick Puppet, if you're playing against like a good Branded player, the win rate's almost the exact same anyway. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's their like definitely the branded M boards, if they aren't going for the puppet lock, are still like very like there's interrupt on interrupt and it's super layered and everything. But I think it is definitely better than like, okay, I have to have these cards that are in my side deck that literally only impact the graveyard because that's like the only thing that I can put in for branded. Whereas like if it was just like a normal board where you're trying to break it, then at least you can have some kind of overlap with, other cards that weren't just like graveyard hate for the puppet lock.
You can, but I just think the other cards just give you the illusion that you have a chance of winning, but you won't end up winning anyway. But I don't know, it's weird. But I think overall Branded should be hit, like regardless of the puppet lock. So I'm kind of chill for Branded Fusion Limit, but I think both should probably happen: Sanctifier Band and Branded Fusion Limit. I don't think they're ever going to hit both of them, unfortunately. I mean, obviously they hit neither of them, so.
Yeah.
I mean, they could just be saving it for like the next Banlist. Because like, think about it. There were a lot of recent OCG changes that we just didn't get.
Yeah.
Things like release of Heavy Storm, errata of Summon Sork. Those just never happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Summon Sorceress, and also didn't MX Saber Invoker also come off the list recently in the OCG?
Well, it's a couple of lists ago, right? That was a while ago.
Yeah. We just still don't have MX Saber Invoker either.
That makes me thinking we might getting another Banlist before like end of June before Nats.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it now. They put Terratop to 3 on this ban list, then they unban MX Saber Invoker on the next one. So you just have
Which
3
still be fine. You don't have your sold. So what, right?
Yeah, you summon Suprex and just Just stare.
Get passed. Make an IP with.
But
Yeah, but I feel like they didn't release like heavy or errata some sort because there isn't a good reprint set recently to including those. So hypothetically speaking, we can get another list like end of June, and at the same time, all the changes like heavy, like summon sort, can be reprinted in Battle of Legend around the same time.
yeah. So
That's a good.
the last point for this podcast that I wanted to the last subject, that's a better word for this podcast that I want to discuss is how do you think that these changes on the ban list are going to impact the event this weekend? What are the implications for this ban list for this weekend? Do you think it's going to change what we see at the top tables? Any of these changes? I know a lot of, at least all of the ban section, other than Summon Limit, which was just a general floodgate quality of the game hit. Most of the, if not all of the ban section, you can attribute to the pure Snake Eye deck, and those were major hits onto the pure Snake Eye deck. So, how are you guys feeling going into this weekend?
I think everything's gonna be almost the same as last format, except you replace pure with some fire kings, right? Like,
Yeah.
I hate the change because it's so last minute, but I don't think the whole list really changed that much. It will hopefully make some stun player drop their stun deck and go back to their old decks from years ago playing those, so they're still bad at the tournament.
Yeah.
But besides that, I think the top cut portion of it is still just gonna be maintained the same. We're gonna have a similar portion of snake eye ratios out of top cut. Same amount of like voiceless, branded. Other maybe the other section will be different with some like decks with the newer toys, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think if you were like going into the YCS thinking that there was going to be like a huge shift in like representation between the decks, I think that's kind of weird because yeah, like Shun said, the format, if you think about it, didn't really change all that much. You're just at first when Fire really released, it was like Fire King was the most popular one, then it switched to Pure, and now it's just back to Fire King. So we're just gonna keep going in that cycle. So it's still Fire on top. It's just a different version of it, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think probably what you'll see more than anything, is just like people do well with their standard decks because those are still like branded and like labyrinth and stuff like that. Like those remained unchanged from the ban list. But like the fire decks, like they're still really good, but they're less optimal now. So you'll see like some percentage of like whether it's like 3 to 4% less copies of those decks at like the top tables, where you'll just see people who've been playing their same decks who are like good with those decks who didn't have to change much, just like kind of eke out more wins because they know what they're doing and they've been doing it for the past 3 formats.
Yeah, especially so close to like the YCS, there's definitely gonna be people just playing like their comfort decks and still gonna be able to do really well with those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a point. Just the matter of the fire players, at least, yeah, the fire players are not gonna have optimal deck lists on such short notice, where the other players are just gonna keep on doing what they're doing. I think that especially is true for Despia. Like, I feel like going into this weekend, Despia is definitely a spooky deck. You know, especially they didn't hit Albion. The deck was already performing towards the end of last format. It already was speculated to have a really good fire matchup, and the deck just went unhit. So,
And it's even better into Fire King. Like it was kind of weird into Pure because the Omni negates, but into Fire King, Brandon just eats alive that matchup. So the only thing that I think is gonna keep it back is just like not a whole lot of people like knowing how to play Branded, at least at like a very high level. So that's why I'm not super concerned about it. But yeah, there are definitely some scary Branded.
yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys for doing this with me. Thank you, and good luck to everybody at YCS Raleigh. Appreciate it.
Yo, who you think is winning?